Good evening and welcome to At the Cross. I'm Chris,
I'm Annie.
and we are here on a nice Friday night.
Yes, it is a nice Friday
Less than a
night.
week before Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. You're coming home super soon.
Yes, very soon. I'm excited.
Yeah, and you'll be home for how long? A couple of weeks? Or a week?
No. Thanksgiving break is just I'm flying in on Wednesday and flying back on Sunday,
Okay, all right,
and
so it's a
then
short one.
and then it's like I have 1 week of classes and then finals week, and then I'm coming home for a few weeks.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, that's cool. Yeah, but it won't
Mhm.
be too long because then you have a wind trim that you're doing, right?
Yeah. Yay.
So.
I'm thrilled.
Well, the dogs are anticipating your return. They smell
They
the
better
bark
be.
box that came.
Yeah, mom told me about that. I bet
So
I bet they are excited.
yeah, they want to rip it open, and they
I'm sure
cannot
they do.
until you get home.
And
So,
also because they don't have thumbs, so
and also
it's a
because
little
of,
hard for them to, like, open the
yeah.
box.
Although this one was the box was pretty destroyed.
I
So
saw.
oh,
That's
yeah.
special. Yeah, mom sent me a picture. That's fine.
So
I mean, you
well,
figure everything that's inside the box will also be destroyed pretty soon, as soon as the dogs get into it, so
exactly. Yeah,
no
there's
harm, no
nothing
foul.
nothing breakable in there.
Right.
So. So I thought then for we will not have at the cross next week. We're going to take a break, and so this is it for a couple of weeks.
2 weeks. Mhm.
hmm So I thought we would talk about um, this verse here, two verses actually in Romans. This is from Romans chapter 10, and it says, "If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and if you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. And I thought that was an interesting one because, what this says is, look, you know, do you believe that Jesus is Lord? Right? And
Mhm.
we can go into what that means. How can we believe without the Holy Spirit? Or do we get to choose whether we believe or not? So there's a lot of topics there we can talk about. But setting that aside, what I thought was interesting was picture this verse in your head sitting
Mhm.
around a dinner table at Thanksgiving and
Okay.
how the conversations might go. Because in some cases, you have family and friends sitting around that same table that don't believe what you believe.
Right.
And maybe they believe and you don't, or
Mhm.
vice versa.
Mhm.
And so let's just say that you do believe. What's your what are some of the decisions you make, for example, about praying before meals? So if you always pray before a meal and now you're at Thanksgiving and you have all these people that do, but some that don't, what do you do with that?
Well, you could pray. That's always a good option because praying out loud to the people who don't usually, that might be like that little seed that we've been talking about.
Mhm.
Um, but if, like, for whatever reason you decide not to pray, it's not gonna have any effect on your salvation.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? And so,
Mhm,
we look at things like, not causing other people to stumble. And
mhm,
so, and they use that in the term in the context of like eating pork, eating meat. If you were
mhm,
around people that are early Christians, maybe, or new Christians, and they don't believe in eating meat, but you're like, no one cares.
mhm,
Well, when you're around them, you might withhold from doing that,
mhm,
right? Just so that they don't stumble, so they don't, we're
mhm,
like, oh, well, is there something wrong with me, or am I not believing it right? But in the case of this, it's really different because it's not that they're like new or
Right.
Christians or but that they just don't believe. And so there's an
Mhm.
opportunity there um, to spread the gospel,
Mhm.
right? And just like you said, to give to plant a seed. Because and as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, the first thing that came to mind is, well, you always talk, you don't say this, but people always say, what are the two things you never talk about at the dinner table, right?
Mhm.
Politics and
The
religion.
religion. Mhm.
And so that's kind of where I'm going at with this is challenging that. Is that really true,
Mhm.
right? And I think that there's an opportunity to absolutely talk about religion,
Mhm.
or I should say, maybe not religion, to talk about Jesus.
Yes.
The nuances, the differences between Lutherans and Catholics and Baptists and non-denominational, maybe that doesn't isn't
Mhm.
appropriate.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would think that there's no time when you shouldn't talk about Christ.
Mhm.
How does that work with forget Thanksgiving, what about going out and eating?
Yeah,
What do
you
you
can definitely. Mhm.
No, go ahead.
Well, you can absolutely pray when you go out to eat, even if everyone at the table like prays anyways. I remember, and I don't know why I remember this, but I was like 9 or 10 years old, I want to say, and we went out to some. I think it was like a Chinese restaurant or something, and we were all sitting around the table. It was like the whole family, um, and we were praying, and like all of us like went to church together like hours before this. So like all of us already prayed. All of us are solid in our faith and everything. But I remember as we were wrapping up the prayer, me being 9 years old, I didn't have my head bowed the whole time. And I was looking up and I saw a waitress in the corner, like kind of near where we were sitting, who was also sitting there praying with us. But like off to the side. So even if, if you're out to eat, even if everybody at your table um already prays and already is like, they've already been harvesting that little faith seed, um you may be planting a seed around you even if you have no idea that you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. You're right. And you never know. And like in that case, what was your reaction to that as a 9-year-old? Do you remember how you processed that?
I thought it was cool. I did not really think of it past that. I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's neat, and then like that was it. But
So here's one thing, because you kind of brought this up a little bit. If you don't pray, your salvation is not in jeopardy. So prayer is not a law thing. It's not something you
mm-mm,
have to do. It's something you
mm-mm,
you want to do.
mhm,
That's the usually why you pray, because you want
mhm,
to pray. You want to have this relationship with God,
mhm,
and you do that through the Word, reading the Bible, because you want
mhm,
to read the Bible. You want to learn more about Him. You do that through prayer for the same reason. You go
mhm,
to church because you want to be close to Him. He promises to be there in a worship service, and you want to be there too. He's
mhm.
serving you. Um, but definitely not law. It's not things you have to do.
Right.
But then when you look at this verse here, what does this mean? For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. It almost seems like Paul saying it's with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. It's you have to speak it
Mhm,
and profess your faith. That's how you get saved.
mhm,
But that's not what we believe. And I think obviously we're taking this out of context. There's a larger passage here. Um, but what I think he's saying here is that look, it's just what we talked about. It's a response to what he has done.
Hmm.
And you can't help but not tell other people about Christ,
Hmm.
either through words or through your actions,
Hmm.
right? Forgiving those that don't forgive you, forgiving those that
Hmm.
you don't want to forgive, right? Things like that. And it's again not because you have to, not because you feel like you need to. It's because you want to. Um, and you turn to Christ for the strength to do that, whether it be pray in public or forgive someone or whatever.
Hmm.
And I think that's what's really cool about it is when you if you were to pray in public, going back to that, and somebody asks you a question, why did you do that? What a wonderful opportunity to say, because I wanted to give thanks. And they're like,
Hmm.
oh, so you had to do it. I'm like, nope, I don't have to do it.
No.
I wanted to.
Hmm.
And how interesting, because so often we see, people will talk about religion as things they have to do,
Right.
and they get turned off because, well, if I'm going to start believing in God, then these are the things I have to do. And it's like,
Hmm.
no, it's, you want to learn more about your creator, this guy this God who made you. And the more you learn about him, the more you want to know about him, the more you want
Hmm.
to, you know. So, and I think that's just, it's an interesting, um, I don't know, thoughts based on like this
Hmm.
passage. You know.
Hmm.
What do you have? Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Well, let's end it here. It's
Okay.
um, you have homework to do, and
Oh yeah.
enjoy.
Always.
All right, well, hurry up and get all that stuff done so you can get on a plane and fly back home and
Oh
see
yeah.
everybody.
Oh yeah.
So, goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.